5 years ago when my stepfather passed away. He was in Henderson, Nevada, and I was sitting here at the church, and behind me, I didn't want to turn around at the time, and I ultimately did turn around, but I heard somebody say, "How much are you going to get?" And I was like, "Dang."
Welcome to the Visibility Room, on air and off script. Hey, everybody. It is Karyl Morris here at the Image Impact Group and the Visibility Room, on air and off script. And today I have with me Adam San Juan. Adam, hello.
Hey, how are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
Good.
Good. I am going to let you do a quick introduction of who you are and what you do. And I know that the other day you mentioned something to somebody and it was so great.
Oh my goodness.
They had you write it down.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So I'm a financial advisor, and I'm also an author. I own a publishing company called Argo Publishing.
Yes.
But I wrote this down, and somebody asked in a networking environment exactly what is it you do as a financial advisor. And I try to put it in context. And I said this. I said, imagine waking up, checking your accounts, and seeing enough money that you actually exhale for the first time in years. That weight off your chest gone. That's the kind of stuff that I solve. And I think everybody has a version of weight on their chest. So how does that relate to the books?
Yeah.
It has everything to do with friction and conflict, because usually it's those things that prevent somebody from moving forward.
Right.
So I'm happy to talk about whatever you want to talk about, but I think the books are the basis for why I'm such a good financial advisor.
So one of the cool things is that, you know, you discovered writing and helping others write through financial advising, strategies, the way you look at things, the way that you hear things, the way that you absorb things. And we're going to talk about that in a minute.
Okay, cool.
But first,
Yes.
I have some rapid fire questions
Love it.
for
Let's
you.
do it.
All right. What first impression do you want others to have of you?
Great question. I think it would be health, oddly enough.
Oh.
Because when you walk into a room, people are actually listening with their eyes. And so I think everybody advertises something. It's like walking to a house and the first thing you see is what's in their what's in their first line of sight. Yeah. Sometimes you walk into a house and there's this wall, like, what the heck's this wall doing here? But then you take a peek in their living room. Is it a TV? Is it a portrait of their family? Is it a mantle?
Yeah.
Is it a table? So for me, I guess as a financial advisor, I want people to know I'm going to be around.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And so I want people to say, that guy takes care of himself.
Yeah.
And if he can take care of himself, then he's somebody that I can see taking care of me.
Right.
And it's
Great
like
insight.
my doctor saying, yeah, don't smoke.
Yeah.
It's horrible for you. It's so bad. No. So I try to walk the walk, talk to all those wonderful things. And so all the financial practices that I put into play, it's a series of trophies and scars that I've accumulated myself and that I'd like to share with people. And so I would say that would be it. It's just to walk into a room. I want them to say, the guy takes care of himself. Or let's take it even bigger. I think everybody should walk into a room saying, with this idea, I hope people can see me in front of their clients. I hope someone can see me and say, he's somebody I can introduce to somebody. And there are a lot of people that are tone deaf to that. Yeah. Right.
Well, it's interesting because I often say this to people. Do you walk in like a solution provider or the problem that they're trying to solve for?
I'll take it even a step further.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what do you walk in as? Are you sunshine or are you a dark cloud? And there are people whose attitude just drag down a room thinking, oh my gosh, the temperature changes when you walk into a room. And everybody should actually take that very seriously because that actually determines whether or not you get invited back or if you are effective.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so I have 4 more.
Go.
And these are quick rapid fire. So
All right.
they're 1 to 5 words. Are you ready?
Go.
Favorite way to connect with people, in person or digital?
In person.
All right. What builds credibility faster? Expertise, presence, or consistency?
Consistency.
What's the number one trust killer you often see?
Lack of eye contact.
Okay. Wait, what?
Yeah.
What's the number one leadership lesson that has stuck with you?
Don't manufacture silence.
Now I have to ask. Tell me more.
This actually happened in a meeting where I was watching a manager behave or respond to a question that an employee asked. Employee said, I have a question, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And let's say it was about a spreadsheet or something like that. And the boss said, we still in that?
Oh.
Exactly. And that person shrunk.
Yeah.
And it led me to something that I've been teaching for a long time, which is leaders who don't listen will ultimately be surrounded by people who got nothing to say. And it's remarkably powerful because when I saw that room, I watched the vibe and the temperature change. Everything changed in that room. And what happened was, I said, he manufactured an environment that was not safe for anybody to ask questions.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, he thought everything's fine. And guess what? Nobody's complaining. Everything is good. It's like, I think friction is good.
Yeah.
You can't be afraid of it as a leader.
Right.
But when they get that quiet, I get nervous. I said, I want you to talk. We talked about that earlier.
Yeah.
I want there to be a vibe. I want you to disagree with me.
Yeah.
And we'll learn something from it. And we have to do that with grace. The problem is when I'm in rooms, I look for whether or not people escalate or they shrink. And I don't want either to happen.
Right.
I want there to be dignity in the room. I want there to be, confidence that you go ahead, ask that question, but I'm not going to shame you.
Yeah. I mean, when you said that, I literally was like, it takes you back.
It does. And it's almost a sad thing to see if you think about it.
It's demeaning.
And sometimes leaders do that. They don't even realize that. But then I call those ego spikes, right? It's like, oh, okay, it sounds like you're challenging me. So guess what? I'm going to try to find a way to shut you up in a very professional, smiling assassin kind of way. I don't like it. But yeah, that's my take on that.
Wow. That is a great take, first of all. And secondly, I mean, it really did. You took me back by saying those words. So I can imagine if that was really me in the discussion, how I would feel. And you're right. You're shut down.
You're shut down.
Why would you say anything anymore?
People respond to authority in different ways. People respond to friction in certain ways.
Yeah.
And they get caught. And I think leaders misinterpret silence.
Yeah. This is a great segue into one of the things I wanted to ask you about, because you do write about, so and first of all, caveat for, when we first jumped on, it is interesting that you're a financial planner that has this love for writing. And again, not only your writing, but helping other people get there as well. Yeah. But take me back to, you write about awareness and environment and decision making.
Yeah.
How did that become the foundation of your work? Where did that come from?
Well, it's something that I've been practicing for a long time.
Yeah.
And I had somebody in Mount Clemens. She's a dear friend, and she, shoved me to do this. She goes, Adam, you're all, big hat, no cattle. I'm like, all right, got to do it. So, she knows who she is. I'm not going to name her, but she's awesome. Yeah. Now, that being said, the precipice behind the books, how it was born, was about 5 years ago when my stepfather passed away. He was in Henderson, Nevada, and I was sitting here at the church, and behind me, I didn't want to turn around at the time, and I ultimately did turn around, but I heard somebody say, "How much are you going to get?" And I was like, "Dang!" Oh. And of course, I found out who it was, and it didn't surprise me who it was. But for me, it got me thinking about legacy. Yeah. And I'm probably worth more dead than I'm alive, just from a straight fiscal and insurance standpoint. Yeah. But the question stuck to me as to, all right, if something were to happen to me, what am I going to leave my kids? And I didn't want it to be a pile of money. Yeah. I wanted it to be, Dad taught us something, and we're going to carry that forward. So I said, all right, what have I been preaching to them since the dawn of time? Yeah. There were three things. It was, you got to know your audience. Second thing, you got to surround yourself with really good people. And then the third one was, you have to have a process for making good decisions. Do those three things. And I said, you're not going to be rich. I can't certainly guarantee that. Yeah. But you'll be a decent human. Right. So I then took a different spin at that. I said, okay, so what are those three things? I said, what are you looking at? And I said, actually, I've just kind of pinned down how to handle conflict. And conflict comes in three forms: man versus man, me versus you, understand your audience. The second one was man versus environment. What am I doing here, right? And then the third one was, what was I thinking? Man versus himself.
Yeah.
So I put a rough draft of the manuscript together, talked to my editor. She said, write the first chapter, which was Man versus Man. And it came out to be about 260 pages. And she goes, you're not going to write a 750-page book. No one's going to read it. First, it's going to be expensive. It's going to look like this, and people are just going to be intimidated by it. She goes, you accidentally wrote 3 books. I'm like, hello, first world problems. So I put that first book out there, and it went really well. And it's called, and they're all in questions.
Yeah.
So there's a theme to that. And I call it the human series. The first book is called Man versus Man. Right? It's not called Man versus Man. It's called What Are You Looking At? The impact of answering and how it changes everything.
Yeah.
The second book was, which is my favorite. It's called What Am I Doing Here? That's the second question.
Oh.
Which is a guide to the unseen influences of your surroundings.
Okay.
And then the last one was, what was I thinking? And that was just having that process. And that one just came out probably about 3 months ago.
Oh, wow.
So the human series is done.
Yes.
It took about 4 years to put together. Wow. And I get a lot of traction out of those.
Yeah.
But that helps me as a financial advisor, because now when I walk into a room, I'm like, all right, what's the boogeyman here, right? And I try to understand what's the friction and what has caused somebody to get into the situation they have. And it's either because they failed in one of these 3 conflicts. Either they have no clue about the audience, they have no idea about their surroundings, or they have zero process for making good decisions.
Right.
Those 3 things equal disaster. But if you get those 3 things right, you can walk into a room, conflict can show up, and guess what? You're probably like, yeah, I'm good.
Yeah.
Because I have a process for those.
And it's such a great gift to give to your children. And I hear what you're saying. It's nice to leave them a financial legacy. That is nice. Yeah. But more than anything, I think as parents, our job is to make them decent human beings. And the gift that you can give through not only words, but examples of how to live your life and how to lead your life. And to be able to watch not only how those words pertain to them, but also how they pertain to your clients and how they pertain to maybe their clients in the future.
Right.
And that's the ongoing legacy.
Well, interesting thing about the clients that I have is when I think about those 3 things and how I write, I don't write for a conclusion. I write based upon observation. Like, this is what I observed. I am not a clinician by any stretch. I have no formal training in human behavior.
Yeah.
I have, I don't have those crazy suffixes, but I've watched people for such a long time. I've studied people for so long. It's like, this is my take on it. And it's a very humanistic approach. If you were to read these things, it's like you're sitting with Adam and you're having a beer in your hand. Yeah. And so I would say that observation is the main thing. And I think people aren't sure exactly how to watch people or look for patterns. Yeah. And after you've done it for a while, and you have to practice it like anything. Yeah, absolutely. And you say, okay, I can now understand where my customer is coming from. When they walk in, you should be able to determine if they're pensive or if they're relaxed. You should be able to determine who's the alpha in the room. Yeah. You should be able to look back and say, okay, so that's how that person thinks, or that's how that person thinks. But you connect all that, then you can have an effective meeting and say, okay, the solution I have is customized for you. Exactly. It's not clinical, it's personal. Right. And that usually goes a long way. They say, wow, you really thought about this. Like, yeah, I definitely thought about it.
I think that's huge. And I'm glad to hear somebody talk about it like that. And a lot of times, when it comes to finances, it already feels really heavy. And then if you feel like you're going to walk into a situation where it's going to be clinician, and it's going to be, this is what you do, this is what you do, this is what you do, which all might be the right things. Yeah. But it's how the approach is taken, how you're dealt with on a human basis that makes you feel comfortable or not comfortable.
Comfortable is a great word. Somebody said, we had this conversation about, what superpowers do people have? Yeah. And she said, you know what superpower you have? And I said, what's that? This is interesting. What's that? She goes, you have the ability to disarm. I'm like, that's good. Now, how does that relate to finance? People... I don't know whoever's got their finances ordered, they're not proud, like, yeah, look, I got my finances. Yeah. No, they don't. As a matter of fact, most people are ashamed of their finances. Yeah. So the ability to disarm says, look, you can talk about anything. And once they feel comfortable, then they can say, this is the reality of my situation. Well, thank you. Now I can help. You're right. But, if somebody walks in tentative and ashamed, my job is to say, it's okay. Yeah. And that superpower of being able to disarm comes into play. But how are you able to disarm something? Well, you better understand the conflicts.
Right.
You better know what you're looking at. You better understand, did you create an environment that's conducive for them to actually open up? And then the last thing is this, you better understand how they think.
Yeah. So your books often challenge people.
They do.
And it's challenging their thinking. So what's one realization that tends to hit readers the most?
I love this question because, by the way, all three of the books in the Human series, I challenge everybody to dig in and find the Easter eggs connected with that. But what happens is when you read the books, you go, okay, so the first one is, what are you looking at? It's like what are you looking at? So, and it's almost like outside looking at, what is this? It's almost offensive. But then somewhere around page 39, they go, holy crap, this is probably about me. Like, yeah, exactly. I wrote it that way to where, as human behavior is, it's not me, it must be you. So let me read this book at a lens of I'm me judging you. But then it actually is like, there's this weird mirror effect where you look back and you say, I think this is about me. Good, because it is about you. You have to first seek to understand before being understood. That means you check yourself first.
Yeah.
And I would tell you that the people who read the book thinking that they're not the problem and the other person is, I think they read it wrong. But most of the people who've read my book say, yeah, this kind of spun around toward me around page 39, and the second book somewhere around the mid part. I'm like, oh, then it did its job.
Yeah.
What's also fun about those books is that it's very Adam-y. You can definitely read it and say, yeah, this guy's a child of the 80s. And there's some music references. There's just some things that timestamp me, but that's also on purpose. And I want these little nuggets for the reader to actually step on or pick up and go, oh, that's interesting. Here's something that's also interesting about the book.
Yeah.
All three books has one page that has 2 words on it, on purpose. And that is not an Easter egg. There you go. It's out there. Yeah. It's right after the epilogue. You'll see it. And really what it's trying, the prologue, what it's trying to do is say that every single word, every single paragraph, the way it's structured is 100% on purpose. Yeah. And I think everybody should do whatever they do on purpose. Yeah. When I work with my writing clients, I challenge them. And this is an analogy, but I would ask them after we go through a chapter, why is there an ottoman in the bathroom? And I say, what do you mean? I say, like, something's out of place here. And they say, oh, it's on purpose. I'm like, explain that to me. And they do, and I'm like, good, we'll leave it. But if you say, oh, I don't know, then that's a mistake.
Yeah.
You know, I don't like mistakes. I'd rather say I built it on purpose.
Yeah. That's an interesting statement. I don't like mistakes because mistakes do help us learn. And they do make us human. Yeah. If you can switch it to on purpose, even in your brain, right? Like it's almost a mindset thing, right? So, 100%. And it's almost like what do I want to say? Like a call and return, right? Yeah. If, like you said, if I can say, well, ottoman in the bathroom, that was on purpose, and I can explain it, then hey, that might be a mistake to you, but I can justify it, and I can justify it with purpose. And you can defend it. Yes. Because let's say when I work with my writing clients, and I always envision them on a podcast or on stage or fielding questions. And somebody says, hey, Anthony, why was there an ottoman in the bathroom? You go, there was? I didn't know that. Oh, yeah. Like, oof. Then your street cred, boom, boom, and somebody else says, are we still on that? Yeah. And we're still like, yeah. And I don't want any of my, and the thing is, you know, for the people who help write, you know, my publishing company's on the back. And it's got my name on it too. So I just want to make sure that you don't get caught flat-footed. So be intentional about it. You know, it's interesting with my writing clients, I always tell them, hey, just, you know, I hope we can be friends after this. Yeah. Because I am going to challenge you. It'll come out nice. I mean, our job is to bake a nice chocolate cake. Right. And there's a process. But, you know, as a person that works with people and you're working to help them get to a new level, your job is not to be a yes person. Your job is, and my job sitting here and what I do is not to make people feel necessarily comfortable in that moment, because comfortable doesn't make you grow. I love that you said that. So one of the phrases, and you'll see this in the third book, is, you know what, I'm far more concerned about my kids' character than their comfort. You know, and that is
something that I've lived by when I coach girls fast pitch softball. Like, I don't care if we lose a game. I said, I want to make sure you're confident, you know, and that, you know, you just, all the three things that we talked about. There.
Yeah.
And that meant that I'm going to be far more concerned about your character than your comfortability.
Yeah. And you have to be uncomfortable to grow. You have to be.
Yeah. I mean, I preach that. And that's what that third book is about, is how do you actually grow? And it's more of a mindset than it is. I watch people, I put myself in good environments, but if you have a crappy way of making decisions, you'll never grow.
The ottoman thing is going to stick with me for a long time. I'm going to move ottomans.
Well, that's something I noticed about your place. And we spun the camera and take a look. Everything you, and that's something that we talked about when I first came here. It's like, everything is put in place for a reason. I asked you about the wall. I asked you about the sofa. I asked you all. I was like, yeah, I thought about that.
Yep.
It was on purpose.
It's on purpose.
It's not rando.
Yep. No, it is not.
Love it. Okay.
All right. Another question for you. You're involved with both businesses. So financial and writing. How has your real world experiences really shaped the idea that you choose to explore? So the ideas that come to you that you want to explore, whether it's in your business of financial work with clients or maybe even another book idea.
Yeah.
How do you go about?
You don't go
choosing
looking
those?
for it.
Yeah.
Sometimes if you let it happen organically, the story that's going to show itself, what you're supposed to write, will actually show itself. I think if you say, I'm looking for, then you shut everything else out. When what you're supposed to write, what you're supposed to solve was already there. And so we talked about it earlier. I don't like going to, like, hey, we're going to see a movie. What is it? Don't know, don't care. Just let me walk in and I will discover it. What's so crazy is that when I was writing the first book, I was pretty much in a good spot. I said, I'm ready to send this to the publisher. And then I went to church with my daughter in Brighton, and the pastor said something that I thought that has to be in the book. And so I didn't expect that, but that changed everything about the book. Because once I inserted that changed the surrounding chapters, which ultimately had an influence on the cover.
Isn't that interesting?
Didn't see that coming. I was already set in my ways. And,
Yes.
I think if there's anything that I'd encourage people to do is just be remarkably curious and keep your ears and eyes open, because what you're supposed to do will probably show itself.
Yeah. I love that you said it just showed up and I didn't expect it.
Yeah.
Because now you get to reach inside the bowl
and
then hand me what you find.
There you go.
Okay. So these might be about Detroit.
Oh boy.
They might be questions that are completely irrelevant.
Let's do it.
And they might be something that we go deep
Before
on.
you open that, I can tell you right now, I love this, but this is good. There's some people that would just be horrified in this environment because of the way they were built. And like, no, this is good. Everybody should be able to do this.
Are you ready?
And of course, I'm going to fail now, right?
No, you're not.
Okay.
A hill you'll die on. What's one thing that you know to your core that you are not changing?
Okay. So let me just think about that briefly. What I'm not going to change. I'm not going to change challenging myself to understand your point of view. I will never do that, because I've been wrong so many times by judging people, which honestly is really like the basis of when you read the first book, you're like, man, Adam's an ass. But when you read, like, yeah, well, you know what, we figured that out. But it just continues to show me that I'm so wrong about people so much that I got good at being right about people.
Yeah.
Which means that I will never put myself and my judgments in front of that. I don't know everything. I can't know everything, which means I have to listen. I have to listen to everything. What am I looking at? Where did they come from? How did they? Once I get my arms around that, now I can say, this is what it sounds like to me.
Yeah.
Or this is what it feels like to me.
Right.
And that's a validation. And I would say that the second I think I'm better than somebody, that's the end. It's the end of you.
Yeah.
There's no room for that. But too many people are quick to blame themselves. I've seen it. It's a very ugly thing. I'm sure your audience has seen it. Everybody's seen it. It's like, man, selfishness is one of the ugliest things you can wear.
Yeah.
And I think for me, I will never stop trying to learn the other person's point of view.
I love that. A lot, because I'm a big fan of we don't know everything, and we don't know what we don't know. So, listen up, people.
I'll tell you something funny. In Chicago, right, where I lived, I mean, the horns honk all the time. And my wife, she'll be in the pasture. She goes, honk your horns. Like, I'm good.
No.
I'm good. I said, I don't know what's going on over there. I'm good.
I'm trying to find one in particular.
Okay.
This is totally cheating, but I'm doing it.
It's your show. Go for it.
Oh, this is it.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, boy.
I'm doing this because you live in Chicago.
Okay, good.
But we're here in Detroit, and you visit Detroit all the time.
All the time.
Every
other week.
Every other week.
Yeah.
So we're going to end on this.
Go for it.
A place in Detroit that changes your mood.
Okay. In Detroit. Now, we're not talking all of Michigan.
Nope. In Detroit.
Okay. Changes my mood.
Yeah. Where do you go that it just either like it's a warm hug, or it makes you happy, or it gets you excited?
Yeah, I got it. I got it. So, I'll tell you, it's the Glengarry Fields in Commerce, Michigan. That's when we moved here. The kids were tiny. They were 4 and 5, and we got them involved in Little League, and that was a birth of their friendships. That was the birth of the friends that I became. And when we moved here from Chicago, we knew nobody. And so I got involved in the church out there, got involved in the community, and I got to watch my children start the process of surrounding themselves with really good people. When I drive back there, obviously it's changed, but I think about hauling baseball and softball equipment. I just remember thinking about nothing but the kids.
Yeah.
And that was fun. So I would say, Commerce. Commerce is a great town.
Yeah, that's awesome. And for those that are not familiar with this area, it's maybe like a half hour from Detroit.
Yeah, but if you took Grand River from here over to Commerce, you're going to see a bunch of different things.
Yeah, absolutely.
But Commerce is awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Adam, thank you so much for stopping by.
You're welcome.
Yeah, great conversation.
Yeah.
And it's so funny because when we started, we're like, how long is it going to be? I'm like, I don't know. We could probably just talk forever.
We could keep going, but I appreciate the time.
Absolutely. Thank you for walking us through your books and your thought process.
Yeah.
And how can people buy a book?
Let's go to Amazon. Type in Adam San Juan books in the Amazon search engine.
Okay.
And you'll see all of those things. It's interesting. We talked about what it is that I do. I actually Googled my name for the first time in years.
Yeah.
And I said, what is it even going to say? And it says, Adam San Juan, Chicago-based author. I'm like, I'll take that.
Right.
I'll take that.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. So, everybody, thank you for watching Adam San Juan and I, Chicago-based author.
Love it. Thank you.
Go ahead and like and follow, and we will talk to you another day.